day, I don't know, probably like day 10 of my live series. And today I was like, okay, our topic for today is biggest mistakes I've made in my body butter business. And, we're going to laugh and talk about them, especially in the beginning. And I'm going to share those with you. So if you are new here, subscribe to the channel, like the video down below. If you're an oldie but goodie, say hi and still like the video. So on that note, let's begin. So I wanted to do like, I don't even know if it's a story time. I'm just gonna share all the mistakes I've made and hopefully you can avoid these mistakes in your business. Right. Hopefully you guys are all formulators or, if you're doing it at home. All right. And remember, drop your questions in the comment section or, well, in the chat, drop your questions or drop your questions in the comment section of the replay of this video. So the first topic we're going to do is one of my first mistakes, which resulted in a batch of body butter going bad. I had let me see. So I was making like a large batch. I think this was 12 or 24. But in order to do that, you have to melt the butters. It was a lot of butters. And remember, we don't melt it on high heat. So I used, instead of the double boiler, like the pot method, I used a crock pot method to melt it. So I had the body butters inside of a beaker or one of those big Anchor Hawking baking beakers, put all of my stuff them inside of it, put all of the butters inside of it, and then I put it to melt. Well, by putting it to melt and leaving it there, I forgot about it. And then me forgetting about it, it kind of burned. Like it not burn because it never, stove never hot, but I could tell. Like when I look at the bottom of it, like I could definitely tell that it was burnt. And I did something similar before that with the same large batch, and I was passing something over it. I don't know how I ended up passing something over it, but just know whatever I passed over it was liquid and it dripped inside of it. Now, if you know anything about body butters, you can't just put water inside of it. That's one. It will, it's going to create like a breathing ground for bacteria. So even if I drip of water, I don't, especially if I make it for sale, like, I'm not chance it. So once the drip of water go in there, I was like, okay, I can scoop it out because it's separate, but it's just going to be an entire mess. So I was like, I can't do this. Even if you, because usually when you add water to it, you need your preservatives and you need to be able to emulsify it and all of that. So that was just like a waste of, sorry, that was like a complete waste of money. And I had to figure out, I had to just do it over, but I kept it for myself. So I was like, all right, I'll just do this over and see what can I get from it, right? So as a result, I ended up with a wasted set of body butter. Yes, proper wasted. Lost some money because of it, but what I ended up doing was keeping it for myself because I know I can use it right away. If no bacteria grow, I can know and all of that. So I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this for myself and not sell it because the last thing I wanted to do was do sell it, and then when I sell it, the person have it and it go bad, and like how may I explain that body was going bad, like, oh, some water did drop inside of it. So as a result, I'm like, nah, I'll just keep them myself. So that's all one mistake I made before. Another mistake where it concerns like body butter is going bad was me. I put my body butters in a store before, and I'm guessing they probably just didn't understand the way how to care for it. So wherever it was, direct sunlight was hitting it. And when I tell you the entire, I think I had it in there for like a month or two, and the entire batch of body butters went bad. And I knew it was because it was in direct sunlight that made it go bad, and not and not the product, because I had that same time I made that, I had other products that I made and they did, they were still good. So it was definitely because it was on the shelf in direct sunlight, and because of direct sunlight, it made it oxidize and everything just went bad. The oils, the butters, it all went bad. And I was like, damn. I lost a whole batch of, product because of that. And I think because of that, I didn't really put my body butter in any stores after that. I've never done, what do I call it? I don't remember what they call it, but I've never rented out a shelf anywhere and put my body butters in any stores since then. Like, I just keep them to myself. Anyways, many clothes anyways. But after that, at that point, I was still open. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna put them in any stores again. They have to know how to take care of it. And if I do, I'm probably going to not put them in glass jars or figure out a way where it doesn't hit direct sunlight to the point that it oxidizes. Sorry. To the point that it oxidized and go bad in the way that it did. So I was like, all right, Mega, Mega do that. So that's another mistake. Basically puts it consignment, that's the word. Puts it on consignment in a store, and then after putting it on consignment, not actually physically going back in the store to check, like, because I think I went back to check in the store like once or twice, but not actually physically going into the store to check and see if my products were doing, see if them did I do good. But yeah, so that's one of my stories where it concerns like mistakes that I've made in the business. The next one is for me is like a customer. Has anyone ever had like customer issues with, in the business? Yes, I have. And it was more so with the product as well. I think it was one I was creating, I think it was a body lotion, and as usual, I never do it the day before. I never spend the time and do it. I was rushing it the night before the market because I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make this for the customer because the customer messaged me. So I was literally doing it the night before, which took some time, and the pressures of doing it, and the kids home and all of that. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna rush it up and do it. I'm gonna do what I need to do to get it out of the way. By doing that, I think I don't know if I did it off with my preservative or what happened. Customer ended up carrying it back because it started grow mold, because clearly the preservative, and I don't know if they forget to put the preservative in there or what it is, but something was left out. And no, I remember what it was. I had used a different preservative, which isn't a very good one to use because it was like the more natural preservative, but it didn't preserve anything. So after that, I went right back to the regular preservatives instead, because I just decided never to use that again. Oh, sorry. Hi, Jace Pope. Hi, thanks for being here. So yes, I decided to just go ahead and use those, use from what I learned from that is just use the preservative will work. I didn't even bother use none of them so-called organic natural preservatives because it wasn't even working for me. Jace Pope. All right, so the next one is, let me see, where is it? Oh. Packaging fail. All right, so if you use glass products, it is important to not go cheap on the package. And when you pack the products beside each other, put paper and cushion in between them so they don't, cling together and then break. Because I had two incidents where I packed it. I did put things inside of it, but I didn't put enough because I feel like I was trying to be cheap and not use so much product. But I ended up spending more having to send a customer a new set of product. So I was like, okay, let me just not be cheap. So when you're doing your packaging, especially if you have glass product and you're shipping it, don't be cheap on it. Don't be cheap on the product that you're going to ship. If you're going to ship it, don't be cheap. Make sure you put enough cushion in there to cushion the product, unless you use plastic. Plastic isn't bad either. I think if I had a do-over, I would probably turn to plastic. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll do plastic. Only because, sorry, only because plastic is cheaper. It's just as clear and, yeah, cheaper, not as heavy, cheaper to ship. So I'll probably go do plastic. But yeah, when you're doing like glass, make sure you have, you're going to ship it, you're going to sell it online, like make sure you have padding, enough money to purchase some padding to pad it in as well, so you don't have to worry about losing, losing product because you have to continuously replace your product because the packaging didn't work out, you didn't cushion it well, and by the time it got there, it broke. So you can do that as well. Next, we have, what did I write down here? So another money mistake, this is in regard to packaging and everything else. One, not going cheap, because if you go cheap, in return, you're gonna end up spending more money having to replace whatever the cheap thing is that didn't work. You're gonna end up spending more money because you spend money on the cheap thing, then you have to spend more money if you get the expensive version. So let's avoid doing that, especially when it concerns proper packaging for your products. The next thing you want to pay attention to is not just packaging for shipping, but when you're packaging the actual product, right? You know, sometimes you want the labels to stay. So go ahead, because when you do it yourself, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do it myself, I'm saving more money. That's not really the case. That's not really the case at all. When you do it yourself, you end up spending more money in time. Your time, you have to put your time with it. The labor. That's how it becomes expensive for you. So your best bet is to make put things in place that it's not so hard for you to do these things. You know what I'm saying? Like for the label, instead of getting the blank paper without the cut lines, without the labels pre-cut, you get the one that doesn't have that. Now it takes you more time. So instead, get the label with the pre-cut labels inside of it. That way you'll be able to just save some time and save some time from cutting. You can just rip the label off, put it around your container. That works perfectly fine as well. Right? I think my live was a bit earlier today. Okay, so that works perfectly fine as well. Another thing I wanted to point out was not only the labels, creating certain things. If you can create it yourself to save money, then fine. But if you feel like there's something there that you're creating and it's taking you so long to create it, you have to spend so much money on it, not money, but just so much time on it, you might want to outsource it and try to get someone else to pay someone else, a professional who can do it, because especially when it concerns body butters, having to sit down and make the product, create a label. No, a lot of people don't talk about that. That's a lot of work for one person to do. You're literally a one-man show. You're creating the products, you're creating, of course, the products, the body butter, you're creating the labels, you're making sure it's sealed, you're packaging and you're shipping. You're playing a lot of roles and you're doing the marketing as well. So it is a good amount of work that you have to do. If you're here, please like the video. Thank you for being here. It is a good amount that you have to do. So you might want to take that into consideration and spend the money to get certain things done. Right? The next thing I pointed out, money mistake also, and how to be, is if you've made any of these mistakes, let me know in the comment section and let's talk about it. Now, where is it? Oh, guys, I think I lost my writing here. We're going to get there. All right. So that's another mistake that I made. Another mistake that I made, money mistake wise, is watching videos, seeing new formulas, seeing new recipes, new products, and then thinking I'm going to make the item, buy all the ingredients to make them, and then I never make the product. And even if I do make the product, I'm not interested in selling it. I probably don't like how it turned out. I probably don't like how it feels. I'm not interested in selling it. So yeah, that's another money mistake. I mean, it's like, you're one person, you cannot make all these products. If you're going to continuously see videos, see all these products, and then in return purchase everything that it takes to make the products, and then not make it, like you watch these videos and you purchase everything and then you never make it, you're wasting money. In this day and age, we're not wasting money. We're not, no, nope. I will not encourage wasting any form of money. So if you see a product that you might, it just pop up from you, because it's not like you went looking for it. your favorite creator made the product, so it just popped up for you. Think about it, sit on it for a few days before you actually go and purchase all the products every day. Sorry. Because I purchased a lot of ingredients and supplies because of that. Yeah, I purchased a lot of ingredients and supplies because of that I didn't use. Some of the ingredients I ended up throwing away because guess what? They expire. They expire it. So like it's like why am I doing that, right? I'm not going to honestly, some of them I see and I was like, deep down inside, you're not going to make it. I know I'm not going to make it. So as a result, I'll just leave it alone, leave well enough alone, and just create what I know how to create and look for what I was looking for to create and stop getting bombarded by all these different DIY products that you could create, and then you try to put them in your business and then it's costing you all this money and then you're becoming overwhelmed and now you have too much products that you cannot create. Well, you can create, but you have too much products that you have to create by yourself, too much products that you have to prepare for the market, stretching yourself thin. That's what happened to me. Like I had so much products that I would have to create for the market, and sometimes it was just a lot. Okay, I know we can do a schedule, but sometimes it was just too much to deal with. It was sometimes it was like, damn, is this even worth it? Like, should I even continue? So you don't want to get yourself in that position, right? Right? Okay. The next one is, well, I think I'll list out most of them. This might be a shorter video, but that's okay. So the next mistake I will say I made in my business is like comparing myself to other business. Remember, every business has, like, especially the body butter business, you see much pictures, you see so much reels, you see TikToks, you see so much things online, and you're just like, wow, my business needs to be on that level, my business needs to be like that. And it's like everybody's journey is different. Their journey isn't your journey isn't their journey, so it might be like super different for you, right? You can get the success as well, but it's just different for you. So that's like a money mistake I made, so be careful. The next thing is, I think I've done this. Well, not really. I've never done it, but I know people are going to do it. The next thing is creating some of these products that you're creating and not testing them. So that means you're creating the product and you're not even test if them feel good on your skin. You're not test the texture. You're not test how it feel. You're not test if it works, nothing. You're just making it today and tomorrow you sell it. So you don't know how long it lasts. You don't know if it work. You don't know if it irritates your skin. You don't know if the ingredients that you put together works. You just made it yesterday and decide to, all right, today mega sell it. So now your customers are just like your guinea pigs, right? You don't know anything about it. So, test, test, test. I'll forever preach testing your products before you sell them. Okay, so the next one is, I did the business fail already. Free fixes. Yeah, so all right, let's go to buying too many ingredients at once. Let's get into that. I think that spoke to what I spoke about earlier about when you see something you want to test out and you just buy a whole bunch of ingredients and then it end up wasting. So we need to change that as well. Buying too many ingredients at once and just all different times. In your mind you're saying, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that ingredients, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. Like, you're going to try all of these stuff, but are you really? That's the one. That's what we mentioned earlier. And then, yes, let's say you don't end up trying them, you're losing money. So you bought all of that ingredients, you're losing money. That's number one. Number two, if you don't have a lot of sales coming in, not producing a lot of sales, you have all these ingredients, you're trying to make products with it, but the products aren't selling, then guess what? Now you have these ingredients that you're now stuck with that ultimately might just expire on you. And that's not something that we want. That's not something that you want, right? You don't want your stuff to expire on you. So that's something that, you could take into consideration. Where are my questions? I do have some questions here that I had from before. Let's see if I can find any of them. Okay, yes, here they are. So the first one is, this might be a shorter live. So the first one is, what was your biggest business fail and how did you recover? So that was, I think I had mentioned this in yesterday's live where I spoke about where I did wholesale. And I think I did wholesale. I made the product, I kind of procrastinated, and when I made it, it didn't solidify. So I was pouring it in jars before it actually became solid. And because of that, it was just a hot mess. Like, I lost a lot of money and had to do the product completely over because, of course, they paid for it. So I needed to do it over. It was just, it was just not good. It wasn't good. It wasn't, yeah. So I had to do it over and it ended up losing money. That's the next thing too. Wholesale is good, but don't rush into it if you can't produce. Like, if you're going to do wholesale, don't just rush into wholesale if you can't produce. And the manpower and the hand power and just the labor and everything that it takes to do wholesale, don't rush into it if you cannot produce. Do not rush into it. All right. Da-da-da-da-da. Next one. Have you ever had a bad customer experience? How did you handle it? My customer, like, if I had bad customers, it wasn't nothing crazy actually. I didn't have, like, of course, return, not a lot. It was just that one with the lotion, and then I replaced it, and I think one with a soap, and then I just replaced the soap. It wasn't nothing bad. It wasn't nothing where I can be like, oh my gosh, I'm traumatized. No. Well, I have one, but I don't think I want to talk about that one. That one might be a bit controversial, but it was a customer. Yeah, the customer is very defensive, but nothing worth, remembering, right? What's the worst ingredient mistake you've made in a formula? Olive oil. When I was testing products, and I decided that for some reason I thought I was going to use olive oil in a face scrub. Biggest mistake ever, because I don't know how so much people love olive oil, but for me, olive oil in products, I don't know, maybe on the body, but olive oil in like face products, I didn't like how heavy it felt. To me, olive oil was just feeling sticky and oily. Yeah, wasn't good. And I think that a mistake was really, it was a Pinterest formula that I was following. Like, I wanted to test it out. So I tried to test out a Pinterest formula, and girl, that Pinterest formula was kicking. It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do at all. Like, that Pinterest formula wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth my time. After I did it, I was like, yeah, it looks like this person just put it together, never tested it, and decided that, hey, this will work. This is when I was testing products in New York. They were like, yeah, man, this will work, but it didn't work out at all. Felt horrible. And I think since then, I'm like traumatized where it concerns Pinterest. Yeah, where it concerns Pinterest formulas. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do this. All right, so the next one is, what's the worst ingredient mistake you've made in formulation? Oh, I think I just did that one. Have you ever priced products too low? Yeah, I have. When I was selling my sample set, I had 6 mini 2-ounce body butter jars inside of it, and I was selling it for $25. And it wasn't until then I realized if I sell it for $25, that means each of them is worth like what? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, huh. Each of them are worth $5, which isn't the truth. When I did the calculation over, I had to up it to like 40 something dollar to kind of break even with it, because having it for $5 was like ludicrous. It was just like, and it's handmade, DIY, do it by myself. No, I was like, no, this is severely undercharged, like $25. Whew, maybe I should have done 1 ounce. That would have been good. That would have worked. The next one, have you ever priced your product? What's the funniest packaging or labeling mistake you've made? So for me, I would change my labels a lot, and sometimes I change the ingredients, and I mistakenly put the wrong label on a product. But not only that, like I had the right name and everything for the product, but the ingredients was the ingredients for another product. And it wasn't until I went over it and read the ingredients one day, I was just sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the wrong ingredients. This is not what is in this product. So I had to double take, go back and add these ingredients over. Like I had to do it much better. I'm trying to see. These are my packages. So I was like, very tiny. You can see it still. Like I can see it, but then, yeah, man, you can't see it. These last so long. Like the label, that's back when I had a Canon printer. Best printer I've ever had, especially because I can purchase generic ink to use inside of it. Like that printer was, yeah, it did have one with itself. Unlike this pay monthly printer, like that, those are the worst printers to have. The pay monthly printers, can't stand it. But anyways, have you ever wasted money on useless supplies or ingredients? Yes, I have bought, because I thought I was going to create, it was a certain type of soap. I think I was going to create something. I was trying to be creative with, and I bought molds. Still have those molds today. Barely use them. I bought coffee, some paper wrap, something to wrap soaps in. Turned out after a while I stopped using those. I bought different soap molds that I thought I was gonna use. After a while I stopped using those. Like there's so much tools. I remember I bought a whole overhead tool to mix, and then after a while I realized okay, this overhead tool is fine, but my immersion blender works way better than the overhead tool. Like my immersion blender was actually doing what it needs to do. This one wasn't. So yeah, I've wasted money on supplies, like over 200 amount of over $200 of unnecessary supplies and tools that I probably will never use again, and I still have them, and it's just like, what am I do with them here? Like I don't know what to do with these. How do you handle slow sales or product flop? It's tough, but it happens, right? When I feel like I have a product that flopped, a product that doesn't work, first of all, when I make a product and I'm introducing it, I don't make a lot. So that way I don't end up losing a lot. But if it flop, sometimes I end up discounting. I'm trying to remember if I had anything flop. I probably had, I remember I did a body wash before, a black soap body wash, and it just didn't do well, even at pop-up shops. So I was like, okay. And honestly, I didn't push it a lot either. It's like, it was after like one or two times, and I was like, all right, this body wash isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So I just took it off my shelves and I just tossed them. Like I just poured them all out. I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. I didn't even try to fix it or anything. I was like, nah, because it took me so long to make it, and just testing it and all of that, it was just a lot. So I was like, yeah, I'm done. I was like, yep, I'm done with this product. I'm not even going to give it the time of day again. I was just like, not me, not today. Have you ever had a supplier disaster? So like, of course, I did. I once had a shipment of carrier oils come. First of all, I've had more than one. I had a shipment of carrier oils come, and by the time it made it to my front door, everything was like, well, not everything, but there was like an entire bottle of two oils that I don't know if it's UPS that it was shipped to, because this was coming from Canada. It ran out. Like most of it drained out, and I had to send a picture of how much was left. I had to send that picture to the supplier and have them see like how much was poured out of it, and then they give me an estimate. But like they didn't give me the whole gallon. They just gave me like, oh, like say it was 2 ounce message, they just sent me back a bottle of like 2 ounce of the oil, because for whatever reason. So that's what happened with that one. Like it was all poured out. Ridiculous. Of course, damage to UPS, because they don't, sometimes they just, I don't know if them never care or if it was in the shipment, but it was so beat up I had to replace it. More than one occasion, I had issues with, I have glass jars. I purchased glass jars from a company before. When them arrived, about 4 or 5 or 6 of them crack. And I had to email back the company, and I'm like, yo, 6 of the glass them crack. And sometimes they make it seem like you're lying, like you want free stuff. And I'm like, I purchase from you guys all the time. It's just that today when they arrive, they're cracked. And it happened to me twice with two different companies, where once the package reached, it cracked, and it's not because the company didn't pack it properly. It's more so what's happening to it during shipment. So I've had those issues as well. But that's why whenever you get your package, it's important to open it right away, the same day when it arrived. You need to open it that day, and after you open it that day, look and search for issues. If there's any issues, then you go ahead and give it back to them. Like, you call them, you email them, and message them, and let them know right there and then, and not like 10 days later, because then it's like, all right, why did you wait so long, right? What's the worst shipping mistake you've made? Well, for me, I think I mentioned that, and that is not properly, because I had glass containers, so not properly padding the containers or packing it with probably like papers and enough crinkle cut paper to make sure that when I put them together, they don't knock each other and start cracking. Like, I need to make sure that they don't start like cracking and then they break, because that will happen sometimes. They knock each other, then they break, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix this, right? So, and then you have to replace it, because you're going to have to send them more money, which you don't want to do. You don't want to have to send them more products, because that's more money, and plus shipping. It's just a lot for a business that's like a developing business. So that's the last thing that you would want to do. What's one piece of advice for new skincare business owners to avoid big mistakes? Start small. I mentioned that. Yeah, because start small, you save money. If you want to go right for the only thing that I say I can buy a large amount of is shea butter, because no matter what you're doing, especially if it's a body butter business, you're gonna always need shea butter, right? So start small, test everything, and don't rush into bulk orders, especially wholesale, especially doing wholesale. Take your time with that, right? Your first few months should be all about formula testing, packaging, and understanding your customers, and just understanding the industry overall, right? And you'll thank yourself later that you didn't spend all that money on all that excess product, and then, there's nowhere to put it. So, we can think about that as well. Yeah, and I think that is the end of my live. It's a bit shorter than my other live, which is understandable. I think the last two have been like 30 minutes. That's okay, because even if at 30 minutes I'll continue to show up, if I can pull a next 1 hour one tomorrow, then I'll do that. But if not, I'll see you for 30 minutes tomorrow again. Like, why not? All right. I might need to make another product online for you guys, because I don't like them so many. All right. Until next time. Oh, the next product making online might be a body oil. Quick one too. Anyways, until next time. Bye. Thanks for being here. Please like the video.